The first topic we are having is Ghatka. Now, Ghatka is a traditional martial art form of Punjab, and the relevance here is GS paper 1 Indian culture salient aspects of art form. क्वेश्चन बेसिकली आपसे प्रीलिम्स में ही पूछा जाएगा इसके ऊपर. सो लेट्स सी अबाउट दिस थिंग. नाउ गटका इज अ ट्रेडिशनल सिख मार्शल आर्ट दैट ओरिजिनेटेड इन पंजाब. तो इसमें लाठी, स्वॉर्ड्स एंड अदर ब्लेडेड वेपन्स के साथ एक इंट्रिकेट फुटवर्क एंड रिदमिक मूवमेंट से रहती है. तो दैट इज द बेसिक एस्पेक्ट ऑफ दिस गटका. Now Ghatka is associated with the Sikh gurus as well as the Nihang community and is used for this self-defense and warfare. क्योंकि नाम ही मार्शल आर्ट है. Then Ghatka is practiced as a sports, cultural performance and spiritual discipline emphasizing self-control, courage, agility and coordination. Now this is a traditional martial art from Punjab. उसके अलावा भी there are various martial arts from India itself. For example, Kalari Pattu of Kerala is important one. Then Thangla of Manipur is another important one. Then we have Mardani Khel of Maharashtra, Silabam and Kuttu Varisai of Tamil Nadu, that are important ones. And lastly we have Purulia Chhau and Paik Akhada of Odisha. Purulia Chhau is from West Bengal and Paik Akhada is from Odisha. So these are the important martial arts of India that you should be remembering. Now, based upon what you have learned, you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box. Now, Ghatka is a traditional martial art form of Punjab and the relevance here is GS paper 1 Indian culture salient aspects of art form. Question basically आपसे प्रीलिम्स में ही पूछा जाएगा इसके ऊपर. So let's see about this thing. Now, Ghatka is a traditional Sikh martial art that originated in Punjab. तो इसमें लाठी, स्वॉर्ड्स एंड अदर ब्लेडेड वेपन्स के साथ एक इंट्रिकेट फुटवर्क एंड रिदमिक मूवमेंट से रहती है. तो दैट इज द बेसिक एस्पेक्ट ऑफ दिस गटका. नाउ गटका इज एसोसिएटेड विद द सिख गुरुज एज वेल एज द निहांग कम्युनिटी एंड इज यूज्ड फॉर दिस सेल्फ डिफेंस एंड वॉरफेयर. क्योंकि नाम ही मार्शल आर्ट है. Then Ghatka is practiced as a sports, cultural performance and spiritual discipline emphasizing self-control, courage, agility and coordination. Now this is a traditional martial art from Punjab. उसके अलावा भी there are various martial arts from India itself. For example, Kalari Pattu of Kerala is important one. Then Thangla of Manipur is another important one. Then we have Mardani Khel of Maharashtra, Silabam and Kuttu Varisai of Tamil Nadu, that are important ones. And lastly we have Purulia Chhau and Paik Akhada of Odisha. Purulia Chhau is from West Bengal and Paik Akhada is from Odisha. So these are the important martial arts of India that you should be remembering. Now, based upon what you have learned, you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box. And let's move to the second topic. The second topic we are having is from the GS paper 2. The topic is Supreme Court's timeline for President and Governor. Now, the context here is that the Supreme Court has given its opinion regarding the 16th presidential reference. Now, let's see the news. The news is that the President, in the context of the Tamil Nadu governor case, that judgment was given on April 8, has asked the Supreme Court 14 questions. These 14 questions were asked in the context of Article 143, which provides for the presidential reference. Now, what was this case? The case was that the Supreme Court gave its verdict that under Article 200 and 201, the governor should not indefinitely sit upon the state legislative bills. जो भी बिल स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर पास करता है तो द गवर्नर शुड बी गिविंग सम डिसीजन अपॉन दोज बिल्स एंड अ टाइम फ्रेम वाज आल्सो इम्पोज्ड. अ 3 months time frame was imposed upon the bills. That means within 3 months the governor need to decide whether it want to give assent to the bill or whether it want to reject the bill or whether it want to refer the bill to president. Because it was seen that some state bills have been were being pending for the governors or the president's reference for more than 10 years as well. So in that context, the Supreme Court said that कुछ ना कुछ उस पर आपको decision लेना होगा. And a time frame was also given that within 3 months you have to decide upon the bill. And if you are not deciding upon the bill, then the bill will be deemed to be given assent by the governor. So in this context, the President asked 14 questions कि क्या Supreme Court can give order or guidelines to President or the Governor. So in this context, Supreme Court has given its opinion. The first part here is the core principles. In the core principles, Supreme Court said that the judiciary cannot bind the President or the Governor to rigid, uniform timelines for giving assent. क्योंकि rigid and uniform timelines will amount to one size fit time frame. and that is violative of the constitution. Why? Because there is legality and complexity involved in the bills. So उस legality and complexity के लिए हो सकता है कि some bill may require less time and some bills may require more time to understand them. Secondly, imposing a fixed duration creates an automatic right to litigation against the president or the governor, and president and governor both are not both cannot be challenged in any court of judiciary, तो इसलिए वो भी गलत होगा. Thirdly, it could also render the constitutional functionaries suspect after the timeline expiry. So in that context, the timeline cannot be given. Second context was the no deemed consent. So Supreme Court has said, even if the Supreme Court or judiciary has given a timeline to the president or the governor, if that timeline has passed, in that context also the court cannot assume assent after the expiry of the court mandated period, because doing so would usurp the constitutional functions of the president or the governor. Third one is separation of power. Third is imposing timelines and deemed assent. Both are antithetical to the constitutional provisions, and it is also antithetical to the principle of separation of power. That is the basic structure of the constitution. तो separation of power की वो against जाता है, because judiciary will then be encroaching upon the constitutional functionaries, governor and the president's rule. The next is no unlimited delay. उसके साथ साथ president the Supreme Court has also said that sitting upon the bills indefinitely also amounts to violative of the public mandate, because these bills have been passed by the publicly or democratically elected governments of the state legislature. तो state legislature ने इनको pass किया है, those have been elected by the public. So if the bills are not being decided upon within a time frame or within a manageable time frame, then also it is amounting to the violative of the public's opinion or public's mandate. So president and governor cannot engage in prolonged and evasive inaction by indefinitely withholding the bills. Secondly, such behavior will undermine the will of the people expressed to the legislature. Then next is judicial remedy. Judicial remedy में क्या आएगा? There can be limited mandamus that can be issued, and the authority can be asked to act within a reasonable time frame, but the review cannot question the merits of the decision. That means वो सिर्फ judiciary that can only ask the governor or the president कि kindly act within a time frame, but whatever decision taken by the governor or the president, that cannot be questioned. The next is Article 200. The Supreme Court has also clarified what are the options available to the governor. The first option it is granting assent. Second option is reserving for the president's consent. Third one is withholding the assent and return of the bill. Now उसके साथ साथ clarifications have been given. The governor cannot sit on a bill without returning it with reasons, or must follow a dialogic process with the state legislature. Along with that, the governor's discretion and aid and advice के ऊपर भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला है. उस पे it has said the governor is not bound by the council's minister advice under Article 200. यानी whatever advice the council of minister gives, that is not applicable for Article 200. Secondly, discretion exists. Whatever discretion the governor is having exists only within the frame of these three options. यानी इन तीनों में से ही उसको कुछ चूज करना है. Then if bound by advice, opinion like returning or reserving the bill would become redundant. That's why this advice is not bound. The next is limitations of the judicial review. कि judicial review कहाँ पर हो सकता है? First of all, personal immunity. Governor and president enjoy absolute immunity under Article 361 and cannot be compelled to appear or face proceedings. Second, no review of the bill contents. The bill content को review नहीं करेगा Supreme Court until and unless the bill has become a law and come into force. The next is presidential reference also issued clarifications regarding court's authority on the reference. It has said the Supreme Court held that it can answer general legal questions. Now this particular clarification is regarding Article 143 कि किस केस में the Supreme Court can render its opinion. So it has held that it can answer general legal questions referred by the president even if related to past judgments. Second, The 14 question posed comprised functional references about day-to-day constitutional functioning. Then regarding Article 143, the President is not required to seek Supreme Court's opinion on every bill referred by a governor. And lastly, consultation remains discretionary, whether it want to give or whether it want to refrain from giving consultation to the President. So this is the whole verdict of the Supreme Court. Now next, it's your turn. Whatever you have observed from here, you have to attempt this MCQ based upon that knowledge, and you have to post your answers in the comment box. And let's move to the third topic. The third topic we are having is Juvenile Justice Act of 2015. We have completed 10 years of this particular act, and we are going to see how it has worked and what are its key provisions. Now relevance is GS paper 2, statutory, regulatory and various quasi-judicial bodies. So let's see the news. The news is that over 50% of the cases are pending with the juvenile justice boards. More than 40,000 juveniles have been apprehended in 31,000 cases. 75% of the cases are for the juveniles aged between 16 to 18 years of age. So let's see the act. The act that is known as Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act of 2015. It basically categorizes the juveniles or the children into two broad categories. The first one is children in conflict with the law. Second is children in need of the care and protection. So those who are conflict in the law, they have been defined as those alleged or found to have committed an offence. Those who need care and protection, that is CNCP, abandoned, orphaned, missing, trafficked, abused or street children. So these are the two broad categories which this act covers. So this act is basically for the care and protection of the children and also to have justice for the juveniles. So let's go into the basic details. The basic detail is, first of all, there are special provisions for the heinous crimes. Heinous crimes involves those crimes which are having a punishment more than 7 years. So if any juvenile aged between 16 to 18 years is found to be committing a heinous crime, then that particular juvenile will be treated as an adult, and that adult certificate will be given by the Juvenile Justice Board, whose preliminary assessment will be based upon mental capacity, physical ability, circumstances of the offence and the ability to understand the consequences. So किसी भी बच्चे को अगर डिसाइड करना है, किसी भी बच्चे के लिए अगर डिसाइड करना है कि whether he will be treated as an adult or as a juvenile in particular case, then that will be decided by JJB or Juvenile Justice Board, and the criteria for that decision will be these 4. So these are important for us. Now next we come to the child welfare committees. In every district there will be a CWC. It will be having 5 members, 1 chairman and 4 members, and 1 member should be a woman. At least one woman member should be there. It has power to declare children as CNCP, यानी जिन बच्चों को ज़रूरत है, those who are in need. So those children who are in need of care and protection, that will be decided by this CWC. Then adoption related reforms. Adoption के regarding CARA has been made a statutory body. CARA is Central Adoption Resource Authority. So that has been made a statutory body, and it will streamline the adoption process through a centralized database of adopted children, then time-bound adoption process and inter-country adoption rules strengthening and simplified. So these are the basic responsibilities of this CARA or Central Adoption Resource Authority. Then we have foster care and sponsorship. It recognizes foster care as officially, and for that फैमिली बेस्ड केयर को रिकॉग्नाइज किया गया है, टेम्परेरी प्लेसमेंट को रिकॉग्नाइज किया गया एंड स्पॉन्सरशिप सपोर्ट फॉर द वनरेबल चिल्ड्रन को भी रिकॉग्नाइज किया गया है. नाउ चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन मैकेनिज्म के अंदर दे आर गोइंग टू बी हैव 2 यूनिट्स, वन एट द डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल, वन एट द स्टेट लेवल. There will be a district central protection unit and central at the state level state child protection unit. उसके साथ साथ there will be a special juvenile police units. So there are multiple bodies that have been created under the Juvenile Justice Act. Compulsory child friendly procedures have to be followed by the police, that is mandated under this act. Then next is rehabilitation and social integration. उसके लिए it is providing for education, skill development, counseling to the children, therapy and de-addiction and after care support till 21 years of age. Also, it focuses on institutionalized and non-institutionalized care. Then offenses against children. There is a new definition given for the offenses that are being committed against the children. They include sale and procurement of the children, that is child trafficking, use of the children in begging, then corporal punishment, illegal adoption, exploitation of child employees, child trafficking and cruelty by staff of the children child care institutions. So these have been criminalized under this act. Now next is registration of the child care institutions, that has been made mandatory, and if registration nahi hoga तो there will be penalty. Then time bound inquiry. The Juvenile Justice Board has been given 4 months, yani within 4 months it has to complete its inquiry regarding that a particular child will be considered as an adult or a child or a juvenile. Then streamlined the role of police. Every police station must have a child welfare police officer, that is mandatory. Mandatory reporting of the missing or abandoned children, that is also being made mandatory. Then children's court are to be there. So special courts for the trial of the cases will transferred from the JJB to the to the courts, must follow child friendly procedures, यानी कोर्ट के अंदर भी child friendly procedure होगा. So these are the major important provisions of the Juvenile Justice Act. Now next is what are the challenges this particular act is facing. So देखो basic challenges तो वही हैं, there is going to be pendency of the cases, जो हमने पहले से बोल दिया. Then we have vacancies in the Juvenile Justice Board or CWCs, तो हर एक के अंदर we are finding vacancies. Then one more thing will be there, अगर vacancies हैं तो funding का भी issue होगा, तो then one more problem becomes is of the funding. Monitoring की problem है, funding constraints है. Then there are heinous offences of the misuse, जैसे heinous offences हैं उसको misuse किया जाता है. Sometimes a heinous offence is being committed by juvenile, उसको heinous offence माना ही नहीं जाएगा. Sometimes unnecessarily it will be imposed. So there is misuse of this particular provision also. There are adoption delays. Then one more problem is inter-agency gaps. पुलिस से रिपोर्टिंग, उसके बाद CWC में जाना, JJBs में जाना, तो वो जो इंटर कोऑर्डिनेशन है उसमें डिले है काफ़ी ज़्यादा, उसकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है, देयर इज इंक्रीजिंग पेंडेंसी. देन देयर इज डेटा डेफिशिएंसी ऑल्सो, कोई सेंट्रल रिपोजिटरी हमारे पास नहीं है. Then we are having weak social integration, because if we want to rehabilitate child, we need a proper social integration as well as investigation. Then poor CCI infrastructure is there. Insufficient legal aid, child friendly procedures are being ignored. So let's see them in detail. So first one is high pendency and delays. Over 50% cases in the JJBs are still pending. Slow inquiries defeat the goal of speedy and the child friendly justice. So that is one grave thing that we are encountering here, that we need to speed up the cases. अगर cases की बात करें तो there is regional disparity also in that. For example, in Odisha 83% of the cases are pending. Karnataka में 35% of the cases are pending. Then incomplete constitution and vacancies. For example, JJBs के अंदर बात करें तो 25% vacancies are there. चाइल्ड वेलफेयर कमिटीज़ काफ़ी जगह पे फुल मेंबर्स ही नहीं है, फुली फंक्शनल नहीं वो करता. 30% JJBs lack a legal service clinic, reducing the access to legal aid. Then poor quality of the social investigation and prohibition services. Prohibition officers are overburdened, reports और कई बार डिले होती हैं, they are also mechanical, वहीं से कॉपी पेस्ट हो जाती हैं, तो that is a problem. Weak community based rehabilitation and follow up is there, so that is another problem. Then inadequate infrastructure for the child care institutions. We are not having fully trained staff, psychological support and monitoring system in the child care institutions, जो कि proper rehabilitation को hinder करेगा. Reporting of overcrowding, abuse, poor food, unsafe living condition, these are other problems with the infrastructure of the CCIs. Then weak inter-agency coordination is there. Poor coordination between police, CWCs, JJBs, DCPUs or district child protection units and state child protection units, वो एक problem है. Delays in sharing case files, age verification, rehabilitation planning, उससे क्या होगा, case are going to be pending, so pendency is increasing due to them. And जब pendency increase होगी तो justice delivery भी justice delivery भी increase होगी. The lack of reliable data systems, no national data grid for JJBs or CCIs. RTI response shows scattered, inconsistent, missing data, limits evidence-based policing and monitoring. Then next we are having is insufficient legal aid. About 30% of the JJBs are lagging legal aid clinics. Quality of legal aid counsel is also questionable. Then underutilization of the child friendly procedures. For example, वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग से भी हो सकती हैं पर वो नहीं है अवेलेबल. देन सेपरेट वेटिंग रूम्स होने चाहिए, वो नहीं है. द चाइल्ड्स आर बीइंग पुट अप विद द हार्डकोर क्रिमिनल्स. काउंसलिंग प्रोटोकॉल्स आर नॉट बीइंग फॉलोड यूनिफॉर्मली. उसके साथ साथ चाइल्ड्स आर ऑल्सो फेसिंग इंटिमिडेटेड एनवायरमेंट एट द पुलिस स्टेशंस एंड द कोर्ट्स. सो दीज आर द प्रॉब्लम्स वी आर फेसिंग विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द एनवायरमेंट दैट शुड बी प्रोवाइडेड टू द चिल्ड्रंस. Then inconsistent implementation of adoption provision, delay in declaring child legally free for adoption. Then CARA and SARA coordination gaps are also there. SARA is the state level adoption authority. Then regional imbalances in the adoption rate, that is also a problem. Then we are having misuse of heinous crime clause, we have discussed that. Poor monitoring and lack of accountability. The state child protection societies and the district child protection units are under resourced, so they are not able to maintain, they are not able to properly monitor the provisions are being implemented in a proper manner or not. Then limited inspections of the CCIs and missing follow up on the recommendations. Then funding constraints are also there. Delayed fund release, वो क्या करेगा, वो हर एक चीज़ को हैम्पर करेगा, उसके इन्वेस्टिगेशन को हैम्पर करेगा, फंड उसके इंस्टीट्यूशंस को हैम्पर करेगा, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को हैम्पर करेगा, जो भी केयर फूड क्वालिटी जो मिलनी है वो सारी चीज़ें हैम्पर होगी बिकॉज देयर इज फंडिंग कंस्ट्रेंट्स. देन लो अवेयरनेस एंड कैपेसिटी अमंग द पुलिस पर्सनल्स के बार अवेयर ही नहीं होते अबाउट द प्रोविजंस ऑफ द JJBs. देयर इज डिले इन प्रोड्यूसिंग CCLs बिफोर द JJBs विद इन 24 hours. Then re-traumatization of the children. Poor psychological support is there, so they are re-traumatized. Lack of trained counselors affect the rehabilitation and reintegration of the children in the society. Now based upon the discussion, you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to put answers in the comment box. And let's move to the next topic. The next topic we are having is pharmagenomics. Now this is an interesting topic. The topic is interesting because here we are going to see that how genomics or genetics can be used for enhancing the efficacy of the drugs. So the context is reading genes to tailor prescription for the individuals. The relevance is science and technology development and their application and effect in the everyday life. So let's go about the news. The news is that pharmagenomics reading genes to personalize the medicine. Now simple सा meaning ये है कि every drug reacts or behaves in a different manner with every other individual. We many times see कि if a certain allergic drug or certain medicine is being taken, कुछ लोगों की efficacy बहुत अच्छी है, कुछ लोगों की बहुत effective होती है वो medicine, और कुछ लोगों के ऊपर वो बहुत ज़्यादा ineffective और even side effects भी उसके होते हैं. So in that context, can genetics help us? Yes, genetics can help us. So that we are going to see. So it will move the medicine from one size fit approach to a personalized therapy. It will help in reactive care to a proactive prevention. It will have eliminating the trial and error to a precision dosing, because every person's gene react in a different manner, and due to that what are the side effects, what is the efficacy, how much dose should be given, that can be decided, and we can improve the medical care for the person. So in a way we can have a personalized medication or personalized medical care for a patient if we are in combining the genetics as well as the pharmacy. So that's why the name pharmagenomics. So this is how this pharmagenomics is being defined. Now pharmagenomics में हम क्या करेंगे? First of all, what we are going to do, first of all we are going to have a clinical, we are going to first of all have a genetic analysis or genetic testing of a person. उसके बेसिस पे क्लिनिकल डिसीजन सपोर्ट सिस्टम क्रिएट किया जाएगा. कैसे कि एक जीन किस तरीके से बिहेव करती है पर्टिकुलर ड्रग के साथ, एंड वो जीन कितनी एक्टिव है पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल में. नाउ बेस्ड अपॉन दिस द डोज, द टाइप ऑफ मेडिसिन या अल्टरनेट मेडिसिन हमें यूज करनी है वो सब डिसाइड होगा, एंड बेस्ड अपॉन दैट अ पर्सनलाइज्ड मेडिकल केयर और पर्सनलाइज्ड ड्रग केयर विल बी गिवन टू द पेशेंट. नाउ इसका रोल क्या हो सकता है? देखो, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल देयर आर जेनेटिक वेरिएशंस इन एवरी इंडिविजुअल. नाउ फॉर एग्जांपल जेनेटिक वेरिएशन किस में है कि ड्रग मेटाबोलाइजिंग जो एंजाइम्स है वो अलग अलग इंडिविजुअल्स में अलग अलग तरीके से बिहेव करते हैं, अलग अलग तरीके से एक्टिव होते हैं। तो की एंजाइम फैमिली जो है साइटोक्रोम P450, तो नाम वैसे इज नॉट दैट मच इंपॉर्टेंट, इट्स जस्ट टू टेल यू कि दिस इज द एंजाइम विच इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर रिएक्टिंग विद द ड्रग्स और रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू द ड्रग्स. So it can, so the variations in this particular enzyme can create different metabolizer effects. For example, poor metabolizer क्या करेंगे, ड्रग टॉक्सिसिटी का रिस्क बढ़ जाएगा, यानी देयर विल बी साइड इफेक्ट्स. अल्ट्रा रैपिड मेटाबोलाइजर्स क्या करेंगे, जल्दी से मेटाबोलाइज करेंगे ड्रग्स को, उसकी वजह से क्या होगा, एफिकेसी और थेरेपेटिक बेनिफिट्स आर गोइंग टू डिक्लाइन. So in this context we need to see that what amount of dose should be given and what kind of medicine should be given for a particular patient. Nearly 90% of the people carry at least one actionable pharmaceutical variant. Now next is, if we see how this can be implemented. For example, warfarin जो blood thinner का काम करता है, if the drug is given in more quantity then it can lead to bleeding. अगर कम क्वांटिटी में दिया जाएगा तो एफिकेसी नहीं होगी. So if we know the genetic makeup of a particular individual and if we know how a particular individual's gene or enzymes are going to behave with this particular medicine, then we can actually regulate the dose that a person should be given. So जैसे जो critical illness होती है, for example related with the blood pressure or with the cardiac part or with respect to kidneys or with respect to our brain functioning or with respect to any psychiatric or oncology related diseases, those can, for those particular diseases we can use the pharmagenomics to actually curate how much, what is the amount of the drug that we need to give and what medicine will be more effective for a particular person. Now अगर हम इसकी इकोनॉमिक कंसिडरेशन देखें तो उसके अलग क्या बेनिफिट है. पहली चीज़ तो क्या है, हमने साइड इफेक्ट्स को रोक दिया. अगर वी हैव अवॉइडेड द साइड इफेक्ट्स, दैट मीन्स जो एक साइड इफेक्ट्स की वजह से जो हमें एंसिलरी मेडिकल केयर देनी होगी उसका एक बेनिफिट हमें मिल गया, वो हमें नहीं देनी होगी. सो इट विल बी कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव बिकॉज द साइड इफेक्ट्स आर द सीवियर एक्सपेंसिव टू ट्रीट. सो वो एक कॉस्ट हमें हमारी बच जाएगी पेशेंट्स के लिए. सेकेंडली, वेरिएंट्स कॉमन है तो वेरिएंट्स के अकॉर्डिंगली वी विल बी एबल टू क्यूरेट द मेडिसिन. देन अल्टरनेट ड्रग्स जो हैं वो भी मिलते हैं, तो अल्टरनेट ड्रग्स कैन बी गिवन टू द पर्टिकुलर पेशेंट. देन सेकंड इज प्रीएम्प्टिव पैनल टेस्टिंग. इट विल प्रोवाइड गाइडेंस फॉर द मल्टी ड्रग ओवर अ लाइफ टाइम. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर इफ अ क्रॉनिक डिजीज इज देयर तो लाइफ लॉन्ग मेडिकेशन रहेगा. सो इफ वी आर हैविंग the genetic makeup of a person and if we are engaging the pharmagenomics in the medication, then we will know that to what quantity the medicine should be given. So overdose and underdose both can be prevented and better maintenance of the medical care of the person can be given. So it will be cost effective mostly in the chronic diseases जो long term के लिए होंगी, कि उसमें हम doses को manage कर पाएंगे. Then what are the barriers for the implementation? The first barrier is knowledge gap, because ये एक नई field है तो we need to study this in the terms of genomics. Then second is weak digital infrastructure. For example, this lack of integration of clinical decision support system in the electronic health records. Third one is inconsistent insurance coverage and reimbursement protocols are also not consistent. Then regulatory gaps are there. 100 plus FDA drug labels have pharmagenomics information, but they may offer guidelines that is unclear or non-actionable. Then institutional inertia and resistance to change the prescribing pattern is also there. Now हमें करना क्या चाहिए इसके लिए? What is the way forward here? Move towards a preemptive pharmagenomics panel. Then integrate genetic results into the electronic health records with automated alerts. Then as genomic sequence becomes cheaper, the pharmagenomics may become more routine preventable healthcare and represent a shift to truly individualized medication where treatment decisions are guided by one's genetic blueprint. So this was about the pharmagenomics. Now based upon the discussion, attempt this MCQ and post your answers in the comment box. And let's move to the next topic. Now the last topic we are having is India's fisheries sector. What is the context? Context is today is World Fisheries Day and the relevance is GS paper 3 economic sectors, fisheries and aquaculture. So let's see the news. The news here is that we are celebrating on 21st November the World Fisheries Day. So it was originated in 1997 and the origin was from Delhi itself in when the World Fisheries Forum was formed. Now this year theme is India's blue transformation, strengthening value addition in the seafood exports. Now it has the participation was from 27 nations and various initiatives were launched this year. So first of all, the one initiative was National Forum on the Traceability of Fisheries and Aquaculture, then SOPs for mariculture, guidelines for smart and integrated harbors, reservoir fisheries guidelines, compendium of the coastal aquaculture guidelines. So basic key launches have been there. Now let's go to India's context. First of all, what is India's contribution and what is India's achievements in the fishery sector? India is the second largest fish producing country globally. So this is important that you can use in your mains answers. ये point use हो सकता है. India contributes 8% of the global fish production. Then India is also one of the largest shrimp producers. The next is production has increased from 96 to 195 lakh ton in the last 10 years. And inlet fisheries have shown a 140% growth. So inlet fisheries is also becoming important in India's fisheries sector. Then seafood exports amount for 62,400 crore rupees. Fisheries support 30 billion livelihood. So this is the economic significance of fisheries sector to India. Next is challenges to the fisheries sector. That is important for us because challenges ke accordingly we have to see what measures we need to take and what measures have been taken by the government. The first one is resource depletion and environmental stress because fisheries जैसे से increase होगा resource depletion will be there. Also there are challenges of this thing that we are having pollution in the coastal areas and the fishes are declining. So overfishing and overcapacity of the coastal waters leading to declining stocks. Then habitat degradation is there, जैसे coral reefs हो गए, mangroves, estuaries, and day before yesterday we have done about the sea cows. So how their habitat is degrading and due to that the coastal habitation is being impacted and that impact is leading to decline in the fishing stocks. Then climate change another major impact because climate change की वजह से there will be habitat degradation. Then water pollution again a cause for the habitat degradation. So this is the first challenge that we are facing, that there is environmental concerns with respect to the coastal and the fishing areas. Then socio-economic challenges are there. Small scale fishes lack access to fishermen lack access to formal credit, insurance technology and modern equipment, जिसकी वजह से there is a gap between the larger and the smaller fishermen. Then income volatility is also there. वो क्यों होती है? एक तो there are seasonal fishing bans गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से जो रहते हैं. Weather shocks are also there. जैसे कई बार there are going to be cyclones, weather अच्छा नहीं है जाने के deep seas में जाने के लिए, and price fluctuations are also there. Then limited bargaining power in the markets due to middleman dominance. That is a one big problem in the agriculture as well as the fishery sector, the middleman dominance that we need to remove. Then safety issues at the sea is also very much of the concern because small fishermen are not having adequate navigation systems and early warning access. So that we need to work upon. Then next is institutional and governance issues. There is a weak monitoring, control and surveillance system to curb the illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. Because ये जब भी होंगी तो उससे क्या होगा? It will be polluting, it will lead into overfishing and it will be unsustainable for the environment. So we need to curb illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing because it is unsustainable in nature. Then fragmented governance with overlapping roles of the central, state and local bodies. So वो एक problem है, coordination का भी एक बहुत बड़ा issue है. Then inadequate implementation of the ecosystem based approaches and this scientific shock assessment. Lastly, regulatory gaps in the coastal aquaculture, especially regarding environment compliances. Then next we are having infrastructure and technology gaps. So first one is insufficient cold chain. That is a problem with India. पूरा agriculture sector ही is facing this problem of the insufficient cold chain and warehousing. So next is poorly developed processing, packaging and storage facilities. Then again the problem of the food processing sector. Outdated fishing vessels, limited adoption of the digital tool, vessel transponders and GPS. बिकॉज वो क्यों होगा, बिकॉज लिमिटेड क्रेडिट फैसिलिटीज अवेलेबल है स्मॉलर फिशरमैन के लिए। दूसरा, मिडल मैन की वजह से उनका जो रेन्यूमरेशन है वो कहीं ना कहीं डिक्रीज होता है। देन गैप्स इन एक्वाकल्चर टेक्नोलॉजी, क्वालिटी सीड प्रोडक्शन एंड डिजीज मैनेजमेंट। The next we are having is market and trade bottlenecks. The traceability system is very weak. Key requirement for the export markets. Then low value addition and limited diversification, जिसकी वजह से भी middleman ज़्यादा profit share ले जाता है. Global market fluctuations are there. Then lack of access to organized market for the small fishermen. So this is one problem. We need to work upon the marketing part so that we can directly credit the fishermen with the market. Also, we need to work upon the value addition of our fishes or the fishing sector. Then environment and disease risk in aquaculture, that is again there. The diseases in the shrimps and fish farms leading to heavy economic losses, overuse of antibiotics and chemicals leading to biosecurity concerns. Then unsustainable practices as poor feed management and unregulated water use. ये basically inland fisher inland जो fishing है उसके लिए ज़्यादा relevant हो जाता है ये topic. Then we are having climate and disaster vulnerability. Already we have covered this point. जो cyclones, storm surges and sea level rise जो regularly हो रहा है, that is one problem. Then due to rise in the water's temperature, the carbon dioxide and dissolved gases stocks is also fluctuating in the sea, and that is also having a negative impact on the marine resources. Then damage to boats, gear and infrastructure from the frequent climate shock is having economic shock over the small fishermen especially. Then data gaps and research limitations are also there. We are having limited accurate real-time data for the fish stock, catch patterns and fishery effort, which due to which optimum utilization हम नहीं कर पाते हैं. Limited research on the deep sea fishes, climate impact and emerging species. Then next we are having is government reforms. So what measures government has taken? First one is GST revision. GST revision में क्या हुआ है कि the rate has been reduced to 5% on the fish oil, fish extracts and prepared or preserved fish and shrimps. Expected outcome क्या होगा? Cheap value added sea foods होंगे हमारे पास, तो उसकी डिमांड बढ़ेगी. Better global competitiveness होगी. Next, holistic governance push दिया गया है. How? For example, through प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना, exclusive economic zone, sustainable harnessing rules and real craft platforms. Let's see them also. First one is Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. So this particular scheme was launched in 2020. Allocation is of 20,312 crores and it was for a 5-year period. Objective क्या था? Blue revolution and sustainable fisheries development. So this is basic about it. So basic इसका benefit क्या रहा? So we have developed cold storage and plants, ice plants in this. We have developed our fish transport units. We have developed kiosk and we also have developed wholesale markets. So these are the benefits or these are the outcomes of this Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. This is an important scheme. Then also you need to write down, if this scheme is asked, that it has also women empowerment measures as well as it is also focusing upon developing climate resilient villages. Now next is Pradhan Mantri Matsya Kisan Samriddhi Yojana. That is another important one. So the duration was from 2023-24 to 2026-27 and allocation was 6,000 rupees. Now what is the objective? It provides insurance support to 40 premium percent incentive will be given by the government and cap is 25,000 per hectare. तो ये basically inland farming के लिए है. The next is the Fisheries and Aquaculture Infrastructure Development Fund. So what we are having here, this was launched in 2018. Allocation is 7,500 crore rupees and it has been now extended to 2026. यानी next year के लिए इसको extend हमने कर दिया है. So that means this scheme is in news. Now in this इसमें क्या होगा? ये बेसिकली फंड प्रोवाइड कर रहा है, तो यहाँ पे होंगे कंसेशनल लोन्स. कौन प्रोवाइड करेगा? बेसिकली नाबार्ड इन्वॉल्व होता है, उसके साथ साथ एनसीडीसी एंड शेड्यूल बैंक्स हैव बीन रोप्ड इन. गवर्नमेंट विल प्रोवाइड अ 3% इंटरेस्ट सबवेंशन. सो बेसिकली जो भी फंडिंग वाली स्कीम होती है उसमें देयर इज अ प्रोविजन फॉर द इंटरेस्ट सबवेंशन एंड नाबार्ड यूजुअली इन्वॉल्व होता है और कंसेशनल लोन्स होते हैं इसमें. प्रोग्रेस क्या है? 178 प्रोजेक्ट्स हैव बीन अप्रूव्ड and investment of 6,369 crore rupees have been already done. Then we are having one more thing, sustainable harnessing of the fisheries in the exclusive economic zone. इसमें क्या है, इसका पर्पस है सस्टेनेबल डीप सी फिशिंग एंड बेटर मरीन गवर्नेंस को करना. तो उसके लिए वी हैव ब्रोट आउट दीज रूल्स. सो यू डू यू नो व्हाट इज एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन? फॉर एग्जांपल दिस इज अवर कोस्ट लाइन. इसके पास होगी एक बेस लाइन. बेस लाइन इज बेसिकली द लो टाइड लाइन. इस बेस लाइन से 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स तक हमारे पास क्या होगा? इट इज द टेरिटोरियल वाटर्स. अगले जो 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स है देयर वी आर हैविंग अ बफर जोन. उसके बाद जो आएगा वी आर हैविंग एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन दैट इज अप टू 200 nautical miles. So first one is territorial water, then second one is contiguous zone, third one is exclusive economic zone. So we are talking about this 200 nautical miles. इसके लिए we have framed these rules. तो इन रूल्स की क्या की फीचर है? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फिशरमैन कोऑपरेटिव्स को प्रायोरिटी एक्सेस दिया जाएगा. देन फिशरमैन फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को भी मिलेगा प्रायोरिटी एक्सेस. सो इन अ वे वी आर एक्चुअली प्रमोटिंग फिशरमैन cooperatives as well as fish farmer producer organizations. Second, it will support modernizing fishing vessels as well as advancing training. Then digital access pass system via real craft will be provided. Sustainability measures के लिए ban on destructive fishing practices. It will promote seaweed cultivation and sea cage farming. Then safety systems में VCSS transponders will be there. नाव मित्रा vessel tracking system will be there so that जो भी vessels जाते हैं हाई सीज में उनको ट्रैक किया जा सके, रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशंस को कंडक्ट किया जा सके इन केस ऑफ एनी क्लाइमेटिक, अगर क्लाइमेट थोड़ा सा बिगड़ जाए तो. देन रील क्राफ्ट डिजिटल वेसल रजिस्ट्री, ये एक नया इनिशिएटिव है, नया प्लेटफॉर्म गवर्नमेंट हैज़ ब्रॉट. ये क्या करेगा? ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन करेगा, वेसल्स का लाइसेंस इशू होंगे, देन ई पेमेंट्स विल बी डन एंड ओनरशिप ट्रांसफर्स एंड मॉडिफिकेशन विल बी डन. तो एक तरह से रिपोजिटरी क्रिएट करेगा जो भी वेसल्स इंडियन वाटर्स के अंदर फंक्शन करते हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू फिशिंग. बेनिफिट क्या होगा? मिनिमल फिजिकल विजिट्स होंगे जिससे कि द फिशिंग वेसल्स कैन डिवोट देयर मोर टाइम टुवर्ड्स द इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. इट विल स्ट्रेंथन द ट्रेसेबिलिटी एंड एक्सपोर्ट सर्टिफिकेशन. तो उसको भी ये कहीं ना कहीं सपोर्ट करेगा. देन नेक्स्ट लास्ट वन इज मरीन फिशरीज सेंसस ऑफ 2025. नाउ इसका बेसिक ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है, की प्रोविजंस क्या है? इट हैज़ बीन नाउ अप्रूव्ड एंड इट हैज़ बीन कंडक्टेड बिटवीन 3rd to 18 नवंबर. पहली बात तो ये डिजिटल सेंसस है एंड इट हैज़ कवर्ड 1.2 मिलियन हाउस होल्ड, दोज आर इन्वॉल्व इन द फिशिंग एक्टिविटीज़. 5000 विलेजेस इसमें इन्वॉल्व, वो क्या कहते हैं, इसमें किया गया है, इनको इंक्लूड किया गया है. एंड 13 कोस्टल स्टेट्स और यूटीज में ये कंडक्ट किया गया है. नाउ विद दिस you are in a position to attempt this mains question and you can bring your answers to us. With this we conclude for the day. Thank you very much.